Let's talk to Nicole Elliott. She is a private investor and technical analyst. Morning to you, Nicole.
Hello, Nick.
Right, we're going to do the banks. Let's kick off with the first one. We've got a weekly chart of Deutsche Bank. What are your observations here, Nicole?
Well, the reason I've picked the banks, and I've picked three ones, because they're all reporting this week. This morning it was Deutsche Bank's turn, that actually managed to turn in a profit in the first quarter of 2018 of 120 million euros. This is something like down 80% on last year,
Yep.
which in turn was unacceptable. So you see where we're coming from and going to. They also took advantage to announce yet more job cuts with particularly in the corporate and investment banking arms. And they're also going to take the knife to bond and equity desks in Asia and the USA.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a major sort of retreat for what used to be known as sort of wannabe Goldman. I mean,
Yeah.
backpedaling. And the new chap, Christian, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, Sewing. He says, there's no time to lose, as the current returns for our shareholders are not acceptable. Well, blow me down, don't tell me that. I mean, this is trading at just under 12 euros.
Yeah.
I mean, at peak, it was 92 euros.
It was near 100, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, talk about crushing shareholder value. I mean, this is extraordinary. And we're down to levels below what we had in 1990s. Well below, half of what they were in 1990.
So the million-dollar question is, where does the share price go from here? What are the technicals telling you?
Well, what you've got the 50 and 200-day moving average.
Right.
And you can see quite clearly that the shorter one is trading under the longer one, and both are pointing south. Okay. That is decidedly what's known as a death cross.
Okay.
Again.
Is it a dead cross or a death cross?
Well, I don't know which one. Well, anyway, negative, whichever way you want to look at it. Having pretty much traded water at around the 16 euro mark for the whole of last year. And what you've also got, I can't go back long enough, but can you see there's a sort of blue line at the top right-hand corner? Well, you just have a perennial series of lower highs since 2010. So, no, absolutely no. I wouldn't touch this one. The 9 euro level is a record low. Right. That is your record low. So you're perilously close to that. And even the Chinese are bailing out.
Okay, so that's a horrible tale.
Do not catch a falling knife.
Right, let's move on to Barclays Bank. Some more fundamental headlines this morning. Again, we've had active hedge funds coming in, taking positions. We've seen some, headlines on litigation, people still suing. We've got the PPI, we've got the pulling out of investment banking, and the tail goes on. Is this a dreadful story?
Well, the first quarter this year, they actually turned in a profit of 1.7 billion. Right. As compared to Deutsche's 120 million.
Okay.
Okay, look at the scale of the profitability. But it's all wiped out by these fines. Yep. 1.4 billion pounds to the US Justice Department for subprime mortgages. Yep. And then another 400 million on PPI. So you're at a loss. You're running at a loss. Again, I mean, this one, we peaked long time ago in 2007 at 700 and odd pence. Now you're at just over 200p. A fraction, okay? Not as bad as Deutsche, but this is really relentless. And again, this one has got these series of descending highs. The moving averages have been mixed in that you did get a decent counter-trend bounce in the second half of 2016. Yes, and your averages did a superb job of catching that bounce. Yes, right. A golden cross, that was, right?
Which is a buy signal.
Exactly. Yep. And now they're mixed at best because you're sort of snaking across the screen, aren't you? So this is not so bad, but that's about all I've got to say.
Okay, so that's not a conviction, technical buy in any shape or form.
No, not at all, I'm afraid. The only other thing I can say is that we are quite a long way from the record low, which was 30-odd pence in 2009 when the Qataris bailed them out, right? And we're at the sort of levels that we were at in the 1980s. We were trading at 30-odd pence. 30 years and counting.
Extraordinary.
You know, I mean that really is no, I cannot recommend. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's move on to Santander. Is this a better tale?
Yes, not fantastic, but a bit better.
Okay,
a bit better. They reported on earlier this week. I think it was Tuesday, and this is interesting because the chair is now a lady, Anna Botín. And it's her dad's firm, right? Okay, this is a long-standing banking family.
Okay.
So you'd think they'd sort of know how to get things done properly.
Right.
But they've turned in first quarter profits up 10% on last year at 2.05 billion euros. It is, I didn't realise this, it is the Eurozone's biggest bank by capitalisation.
I didn't know that.
No, exactly. But it just it just goes to show when the others are shrinking, you know, suddenly you're the big goldfish in the pond, aren't you? And everybody else is turning into a minnow. Anyway, so this is a lot better. And we're trading here at about the €5.5 mark, okay? Now, what's interesting is over the last 20 years, it's very much been in a band between €3 and €8 per share. Okay, so we're in the middle of that. So we're certainly not catastrophically cheap, and we're just quite a bit below the record high, which was €9.5 in 2007. So you're sort of in the middle there. But the worrying thing, the reason the shares have sold off a bit this week, and you can see a potential bearish engulfing little candle on the weekly chart, is that the UK division, which represents about a third of their revenues, basically it's Spain, Brazil and UK with a few other little bits tacked on. The trading in the UK division was disappointing,
right.
And they've had to really jack up their bad loan provisions for this year. So that's a bit worrying in that it tells you that the pipeline there is not terribly rosy. But for a trader, I would say, right, let's try and make some money trading between, €3.5 and €7.5. I think the next move is likely to be down because, again, the moving averages there have crossed with a death cross.
Yeah.
It's not so bad, but you've got also a potential double top there. Yeah. You've got a double top just above €6.
Which is, again, a bearish formation.
Exactly. So I'd say the next move is going to be a test down to about €3.5, at which point you might want to buy this.
Understood.
We'll see how it looks. But just to finish off, I'm going to paraphrase a famous financier who once said, well, how does one get to own a little bank?
Right.
Buy a big one and wait.
Boom, boom. Nicole, we've run out of time. Thank you very much indeed. Thought-provoking, as always.